G'day, I'm Ben from Cash Pro Australia.
And I'm BJ the Bearded Lawnsman.
And this is Lawn Care Skull Sessions.
Bam! I think we nailed it again.
Not too bad, man. Not too bad.
I think I missed a little bit at the front there of the Skull Sessions bit, but no, pretty good.
It's all good. We'll have to try and, for next episode, we'll have to do it and then not talk about it.
Oh, okay.
So that it's like instead of being like, fuck yeah, we nailed the intro, it's just like fucking...
It is what it is, and fucking live with it.
G'day everyone and welcome
to Lawn Care Skull Sessions.
So today we're going to be talking about, so we've got a ton of topics to talk about today, right? And we don't really know what the episode is called, but we wanted to talk about some of the hardships that we're all facing, pretty much, let's say, from the COVID period.
We call it fuck COVID?
Yeah, so, from 2020 through 2021 and this first quarter of 2022.
Cool. Do you want to say that together? 1, 2, 3.
Fuck COVID. Yeah! Now, even though we're sort of going to be, talking about COVID, really a lot of the other topics is not either, it's all sort of a direct result of COVID, but not like say like, for example, your family had COVID and you had to isolate, right? But there's way bigger issues out there because of COVID, right? So everything from employee shortages to supply issues. We had states being locked down. We've also had some mad weather patterns that haven't helped because, let's say in your example, you had 7 days of family COVID and all sorts of disruptions. And then you come back and there's a motherfucking typhoon out there.
It was crazy. But yeah, this has been a crazy... If there was no supply issues, could you imagine the amount of money that would have been spent in the lawn game? There would have been fucking cajillions. Yeah,
and I definitely want to talk a little bit about, obviously in my business, we're on that side of things now. And, the amount, just in my experience, what I've been through in, let's say, the last half a decade. And we haven't been selling Cash Pros on the market for that long, but we were, it's been that long since we were looking at the whole concept. And I've talked about this. My first 12 months of Cash Pro, you couldn't barely give one away. And, now, we're selling hundreds. Hundreds and hundreds per year.
That's awesome.
And so there has been, also stand on mowing. You look back 24 months and, it's just like...
Wow, look at Rob's episode. He was saying that there was fucking 2 in his warehouse and he had to just get rid of them. He had to give them
he was holding them in there because they didn't have fucking mulch kits.
No one wanted them. And fucking now, people would suck your left nut for one.
Yeah, so definitely lots of meat on the bone here. This isn't a freestyle episode.
No,
we do have some topics.
Before we go too far, Gary Ashton did a fucking excellent job with Scotty from Dollar. I was with Scotty down in Melbourne, awesome guy, and he really shed some light on mental illness, and it was a great podcast. Really encourage you to go and listen to that one on Aussie Lawn Stars. Yeah,
and Gary kind of beat us to it because we're gonna have.
I fucking said to Scotty, I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "The fuck are you doing, man? You're mine. You're supposed to be mine." That's
alright. We could get something out of him still. But Gary, I mean, he's really pumping out the content and getting all the good startup and success stories and failure stories along with equipment guys and stuff as well, so definitely don't forget to check them out. Now just want to quickly give a shout out to the guys over at Stripe Life in the US. We do actually have an interview teed up with those guys at some point, and I think that that is going to be great for our audience to listen to because they do things so differently over there.
So different. They and they're really cool guys too. They're a bit like us. Like we've got a group chat with all of us, and pretty funny, man. Like
I'm surprised how cool they are.
They're pretty loose, so they're not too uptight, which is good. But yeah, we should get some good juice.
And that Josh dude is solid.
Yeah, super cute.
He's like humongous.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Kenny's cute too, but
yeah, Kenny's cool. But yeah, he is pretty stacked.
And I love watching those dudes do what they do in the community that they've built. Definitely urge everyone here to get on their page as well.
I think they just clicked over 40K.
Yeah, 40K. So different demographic.
Yeah.
Well, same demographic, but different. Like they're say. I mean, look, the Aussie Lawn Fanatics has like fucking something ridiculous, like 80K.
Yeah.
But that is sort of Stripe Life is sort of more of your contractor market. There's definitely residential stuff in there, but
it's definitely a good place to go if you want to see some fucking cool lawns. They definitely have the coolest drone footage.
Oh man,
some of those fucking properties, they double cut and they just make them look on point. I don't know if that's this will be one of the questions I'll ask. Is that for the consumer or is that for yourself? And do you get paid extra for the double cut?
The double cut, I'm sure it's a standard service over there. I'm pretty sure because don't forget because they're tipping right, their discharge clippings are not anywhere near as pronounced as what we get. So when they double cut, it almost makes it like nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why they're only bagging for leaves. Also, I don't know whether this is actually correct. It's just a theory, but I would say because they're cutting so high, I reckon they get more stragglers.
Oh, okay.
I know anytime I cut high, we get stragglers.
Yeah.
And generally, you can go faster.
Yeah.
And when you're traveling faster and the front baffle is bending the grass, if it can't come up in time to get the blade to cut it, you get those stragglers. So anyway, it'd be good if there's an American audience out there.
Just fucked my two questions I was going to ask, so I won't ask those questions. I'll think of two more.
Fuck it, just ask them.
Okay, I will. I can't think for two more. So.
Oh, so we're not doing... Okay, cool, yep, so my bad.
No.
Oh, I thought you had like two questions.
No, the two questions I was going to ask them.
Oh, dude, that's cool, man.
I'll still ask them.
We're just...
People will forget.
Man, we're just making assumptions here. We got to get them on.
We need the facts, man.
And they can confirm that shit. So let's kick off today's episode and just talk a little bit about the weather.
Okay, so...
So not everywhere in Australia
is
experiencing it, but it's been a tremendous season in Queensland.
Yeah. So I know from personal experience being down in Melbourne, they're not experiencing the crazy rain that we've experienced up here. I think they have had a period of crazy rain, but at the moment they're not. Flying in over Melbourne, I was actually in shock because most of the fields out there were quite brown. It wasn't as green as I thought it would be. I thought, Melbourne is the city of rain, but I was wrong. It's a city of four seasons.
Yeah.
So, looks like they've been sticking to a couple of seasons, not the rainy one.
And, in Queensland, we've just had an absolute plethora of work. Fucking who likes me word?
Would you say it's a bukkake?
Yeah, a bukkake work. And no, the reason why I say that is not only we going absolute bonkers cutting grass, but we got absolutely haggis by grubs or armyworms or something everywhere in Brisbane.
Yeah. Humidity kicked in and they fucking...
man, they just minced everything. So, and then you got to treat that for your client, and there's different restages and different, you can go really far with that.
That's an upsell.
Oh yeah, man, that's a hell upsell. Yeah. So, Yeah, the weather patterns. I just want to talk about, like, say 10 years ago in the industry, where you get to, say, this time of year, like around Easter. And I know Easter changes, right?
Yeah, it does. But
it's usually
relatively,
within sort of that 3-week period. But, like, I always remember as a youngster, I can say that about myself now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Back when I was a youngster, around this time of year, we were already, like, winding it up in Brisbane.
Yeah. There's photos of my kids at some Easters, and one of the things that the Easter Bunny always brings is nice warm pajamas, like
winter jammies.
Yeah, winter jammies. And fuck me if I'd be slipping into some winter jammies right around now.
Yeah, it's still super hot. It's been a cooker the last couple of days.
I've heard that El Nino is going to continue another year.
So I heard that as well. Look, I don't know about those cycles. I know that they are cycles. I don't think they're 1-year cycles.
Yeah.
So I would say that would probably make a lot of sense.
Yeah. There's a certain tell in weather patterns. They say, if there's a certain pattern in a certain place in the world, then that will continue on. I'm no fucking weather expert though, so correct.
I could just ring up my brother.
Yeah.
If anyone ever wants to fucking know something about the weather, right? David Van de Giesen on Facebook. He's a lovely dude. He'll bloody if you friend request him, he'll accept you. But man, he is just like, he like spams the fuck out of me on text, right? He's like, I said to him, man, if you fucking send me the word inundated one more time, I'm gonna fucking crack you.
Oh my god.
So, because he just absolutely loves, he goes out in the shit, right? And he takes videos and he goes, reporting DVDG live, and he's like, in floodwaters and shit.
Oh my god.
So he gets a real kick out of it. But no, the weather has been, man, it's been a real issue. Lots of people down south of here, say Central Coast, having all sorts of issues getting machines on jobs. We're seeing vehicles getting bogged.
Far. I've never seen some of the footage. Like, people will go, so they get a machine bogged, they'll go in to rescue it with another machine, get that bogged, and they'll go in with a ute or something.
Like that day at the 48.
Oh fuck, that was horrible.
We just had like a bogged orgy.
Yeah.
And it was funny too because and I'm not sure if we spoke about it previously, but was it you that was bogged first? And I've just rolled in, and I've just rolled up like, hell yeah, here I come, and just got to a point. And then when we're waving Rusty over, he's just all hell yeah, and we're like, no, stop! And then it's so
we had to manhandle those out. All the machines are fucking a foot under mud. That was a bad day for getting bogged. I got bogged multiple times.
I knew the minute that we put the machines on that we were in big dramas.
Yeah, it turned it into a...
And I'll even tell you, Rusty was on the 40 acres 2 weeks ago, and at the 40 acres, there's an old dude who lives there. He's a yardie. Like, he's just... he lives there for free, and he just, keeps an eye on the place, keeps an eye on us.
Yep.
And just makes sure, like, if a tree falls down, it gets moved out of the way. If someone's trying to break in,
he fucking
kicks him in the head, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, he rings me. He's like, mate, I haven't seen Rusty. And I thought, fucking hell, buddy, Rusty, hasn't rocked up. And he's like, no, he's here. It was like 8 o'clock at night. And he goes, I could see a fucking headlight out there. So Rusty's mowing in the dark. Because we had terrible weather, right? Rusty was trying to mow through all this rain, all sorts of shit. And I tried to ring Russ, couldn't get in touch. So old mate Dennis, he goes, look, I drove out there onto the paddock, but he goes, the paddocks are soft, so I didn't want to stop. He goes, I was hollering out like, Rusty. And then he just took off and went back onto the hard stand.
Yeah.
Couldn't see anything. Rusty's bogged out there in the middle of the night, not the middle of the night, but
fucking may as well been. 8 o'clock's the middle of the night for me.
And when Dennis has driven past, his headlights haven't touched on Rusty, so he's seen the rig and he's seen everything just sitting there. So anyway, I tried to call Rusty, his phone was off. I talked to him the next day, and he goes, "Motherfucker." And he reckons he was lying down in it, like trying to put all rocks and dig and everything, and he reckons he got into such a bad mess that he was lying down in like kind of stagnant mud.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can imagine that at 8 o'clock at night. Plus it was actually raining as well.
That's fucked. I'll give him his dues. He's fucking determined to get things done.
Well, yeah, he didn't want to leave all the rig there overnight, even though, I mean, realistically, if he couldn't get it out with the keys, I don't think anyone would steal it.
Yeah, that's it.
But no, look, I even saw some comments. There's always bullshit going on social media, and there's a few people, who might have been having a crack at each other, and someone made a comment that, I think the weather is just getting us all down as well.
Yeah.
Like all these grey days. Don't forget, people in England fucking commit suicide because the sun doesn't come out enough. I saw another post, and I forget the contractor, but, he just said how great it felt to see sunshine. And
Stagger.
Oh, yeah, Stags. And, I am exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Like, when I go to sleep, I like to sleep with all the curtains open, all the blinds, everything.
You're an exhibitionist.
Some people, I've got a story about exhibitionists. Some people like to wake up in a dark room.
Yeah, me.
But, oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You fucking sad bastard. But anyway.
It helps me sleep in a little bit.
There's nothing more that I fucking love is to wake up and look directly at the sky and go, it is a fucking glorious day. I'm going to get up, fucking got my white ox out my mouth. I'm like,
I'll give you that. I love when we go to the coast because if it's not direct sunlight and it's just like creeping in, it's fine. But if you get fucking high beamed at 6 o'clock in the morning in summer, then I'll be fucking swearing and saying, "Hey, that's the fucking garden open."
Nah, see, I love it.
You love the fucking high beam. Like, what if you?
If I wake up in a dark room, man, I'm just like, "Oi, man, give me a heroin needle and kill me." That's what it makes me feel.
Not even a dark room. Though.
I just feel like a docile, but whatever. Really different.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about exhibitionists,
yes, give me it. Favourite stories.
I think I made a comment on the last episode that I stayed at the Gold Coast Casino, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not one to get out much, I was staying with my wife, and we went out, had some food at the casino, won a bit of money. When we came back to the hotel, I had a balcony room, so I could fag up, just have a ciggy, chill out. And mate, I'm assuming I'm quite outdated, right? Because I don't get out much.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad for someone in their mid-30s, right? I've stepped out onto this balcony to have a durry, and I'm just looking straight at the tower across the road, not that far away, and I can just see it everywhere, right? And I'm like, I kind of noticed it, and then I just saw like half naked people and people having showers, just with frosted glass.
What room are you in? I can book that one next weekend.
Oh yeah, man, it was a mad room. But I couldn't believe it. I said to my wife straight away, I was like, I'm not being a creep. I mean, she was watching it too.
That makes it okay.
Yeah, and I'm just like, how can you not watch? And I remember it was hilarious. You couldn't tell how the rooms were all set up, but there was these two dudes sitting in this room for ages, man. And I, went back, watched a bit of TV, come back out, have another ciggy, and I'm thinking, what could these two dudes be possibly talking about? They were on the bed, just sitting there on the bed, and then, I seen them kiss.
Oh, okay. So
they're they're just talking about it for
chatting it up a bit.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I saw them smoking crack. Like they were lighting up something. It wasn't a bong, and it definitely wasn't a ciggy. And I reckon they were hitting the crack pipe.
Getting high as fuck and making out.
But man, I saw several women having a shower.
Jesus.
And like, don't get me wrong, you couldn't.
No wonder rooms at the fucking Star are so expensive. You get a full.
It was frosted glass. Yeah. Now, I also want to make it clear that like these people, I'm sure they had the option of either drawing a blind or doing something. So it's not like I was like, being like a full mad perv, even though I guess I kind of was.
Literally, like, it's the same at the Gold Coast where we stay at the Novotel. I could probably hit the fucking hotel across the road.
So it was pretty far away, like.
Oh, no, I saw some titties from the Novotel. That was pretty crazy.
No, so this is probably 30 or 40 metres away.
Yeah. You can still make out a decent dick from 30, 40 metres.
Well, I saw 3 dudes going. Now, I couldn't believe, right, how many dudes were coming home with chicks. You could see them arrive, and then you'd see the dude just go and full hang a sturge. And I'm thinking, like, this dude's, probably on a date, or maybe it's his girlfriend or wife, whatever, and he's, like, maggot as, and, like, I don't know, I know for me, if I was in a situation where I was, like, maybe coming back to get a root, if I had to hang a shit, I'd be like, right, I need to go somewhere else to do this, or I need to try and do it before I get back to the room.
Yeah.
Like, if you're downstairs at the casino, like, I'll just be a minute, I'm going to go get a drink or something.
I'm going to freshen up.
I would not get back to a small apartment and, just start...
Especially not like a big fucking bourbon shit or something.
So anyway, that was my little sidebar about it being an exhibitionist.
Okay, so I've got a little sidebar about exhibitionists too. I was cruising through the main drag at Capalaba. I don't know, like it's just like there's shopping centres and stuff there. And
it's ordinary.
It's pretty, it's pretty average. And there was two ladies with a couple of kids in a pram, and my daughter was like, "No," and I looked, and this lady had thrown her skirt up and was fucking power shitting against a wall, right on the main road, and her friend was pissing herself laughing, and the 2 kids were like concerned. They looked concerned, like mum's just squirting up against the fucking wall. It was horrible.
I don't know what to say.
It was. Had I not told you that yet?
No, I'm just hearing this. I'm hearing this with our audience.
It was so bad.
But I've seen stuff like that on like Jackass or something.
Hilarious, because she was. I saw her, I was like, oh, there's a cracky. She was running around real frantic, but she was just looking for somewhere to shit, and she found a fucking brick wall. Actually, it was a white wall, like a white rendered wall, so it's just like...
I've seen videos and stuff of people just like it'll be like supermarket security footage, and you just see someone like walking around like, looking at the apples or something, and they're like, oh man, I've got to go away, and they just do like a little boop boop.
Yeah, pull it to the side.
Yeah, and just like, I just can't believe like a woman is capable of that.
She was wearing the right tie. She just had a short skirt on and just dropped stride. She would have splashed herself for sure, but I mean, they had a pram, so I'm guessing they had wet wipes.
Oh, that's so nasty. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Look, that was sorry. I apologise for the sidebar.
Yeah, it was just a weekend in the life of Ben and BJ.
But we're going to go back to COVID now. I haven't had COVID. No one in my family, I'm talking about my wife or kids, has had COVID. So we haven't been affected the same way that others have. Now, BJ, you experienced, you didn't have COVID, but your family had COVID.
Yep. One member of my family had COVID.
Okay,
so only my middle daughter, and she did an excellent job of staying in her room. She actually loved it because she wasn't sick at all. Like, she got a cold maybe 4 or 5 days later, and she was like, my cold is worse than my COVID. And I know that's not the same for everyone, but she's like an 11-year-old healthy girl. So
yeah.
But
Hasn't had her first White Ox yet.
Yeah, she never will have.
Stay away from Uncle Ben.
Yeah, so it didn't really affect us too much. She was really good at sanitising when she went to the bathroom, all that sort of stuff, and making sure she had a 3-step program that she put in place.
Now, if you had tested positive, I'm not talking about being sick, I'm just talking about being positive, how much money would you have lost for the week? Or just...
Maybe like, 5 or 6 grand, something like that.
Yeah. So you can imagine people that have mowing crews or people who are in charge of mowing crews and businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when stuff like this happens, they're going through a ton of hardship.
Oh, mate, so there's stories that are coming out of school where kids have got it. I know a blended family that have, I think, 7 kids. Like Steve,
the Brady Bunch?
No, like Steve.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Chromo, Steve and Wayne.
Yeah.
Love him.
So they thought they were all done with their ISO. Went to do their rats. 2 of their kids, again, 7 days for everyone. Went to do their rats. Again, someone else. So that's like continuous.
Are the new updated rules? Is it not? So it's literally 7 days ISO from when.
Yeah,
the next person gets it,
but the kids of people that have had it, they can leave.
Yeah, okay.
But if you're a parent, you're not just gonna fucking kick your kid out and say, "Yeah, I can't drive you to school." So I think the kids can actually, if they're not testing positive, they can go back to school. But
now, during the lockdowns, so lockdowns are a thing of the past. Or are they not? In WA, they might still have something, right? No, it was just... Well, anyway, I believe in Queensland, New South Wales, possibly Melbourne, whole East Coast, lockdowns are a thing of the past.
Yeah, I think
now, we've heard all the, nightmares and horrible stories about people in Melbourne and people in Sydney with the lockdowns. Were you affected by any lockdowns at all?
No.
So
it really wasn't.
Neither was I. So we had, I don't know if it was a Brisbane or a Queensland thing, but it was like, if you had a job, you were an essential worker.
Yeah. If you couldn't work from home as well, like if you had a job and you couldn't work from home.
No, so I think it was, if you had a job, you were an essential worker, but if you could work from home, then you had to
work from home.
Yeah. So, which was the case, because I specifically remember during a lockdown, I couldn't take my kids to go play at a park, but like if I had to go and pick up Catch Pros or Bubble Wrap or something, I could put a work shirt on and go for gold, and do what I needed to do. So it didn't affect us.
No.
At all.
Directly it didn't affect you, but some of the weird things that have come out of COVID, employee shortages. I thought that out of everything, people would want to start making money again after so many people were like impacted by the stop work and stuff like that. I personally wasn't, but there are lots of people who were. Employee shortages across the board. So like from dealers that I talk to, other industries. I've heard that people are paying people that used to do the dishes. Now they're wanting like fucking $50 an hour. Getting them into restaurants and turning them into chefs and shit like that because they can't get any qualified staff.
And even if you look at so I know the like all your factory and industrial workers. So these are all the factories that make components for all of our equipment. All of the shortages within those industries affect everyone, all the way down to the end consumer.
Yeah.
But not only that, actual employees that you can hire for your mowing business are bloody hard to come by.
It's so hard
and
to come by.
It's difficult to understand why, because there is no more government money, right?
No, it's all
so there's no more government money. So look, I can understand it. When the government was handing out $750 a week, I could understand how people are like, well, fuck it, I'm not going back to work, I'm just going to take this. Now, because you had people, like I even know people like mothers that I know that worked from home that were getting paid $450 a week, they were now getting $750 a week. No questions asked. So, you know, there was probably a huge part of the part-time casual workforce that were being offset. And why the hell would you go and push a mower?
Well, that's it, but it's over now, so I don't understand why there's still a shortage of staff.
That's what I'm trying to understand, because that part of the workforce, they're either working, you know, somewhere else, and from what we understand, it's not just our industry that is having issues.
So across the board.
So, say for example, you know, where we get our Cash Pro products lasered and folded. We're having a bastard of a time getting production runs because there's no press brake workers.
We tried to go to the fucking Shingle Inn Cafe and they said we can't get staff, so you might get your food within an hour, but you can't order now because we don't know if we'll be able to fulfill it.
Yeah, and
that's a cafe. Like, wouldn't there'd be people lining up for those jobs 5 years ago?
And everything from you know, I know that I'm in the process of maybe potentially buying my first house, and we can't organise anyone to look at the septic. You know, they can't get anyone out for 30 days. We can't get anyone in. Like, you know, we might need stairs on the back of this place on the veranda. Can't get a chippy to come have a look. Either everyone is either not working or they are not keeping up with their current workload.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I'm like trying to build a shed. And you've
been dealing with that for months, right?
Months, man. It's, you know, it's like the dream that'll never be fulfilled. It's, you know, it started at 6 weeks, then it went to 8 weeks. Now it's at 15 weeks. I 100% the supplier of the actual shed. They were in a flooded area. They didn't actually get flooded. So I'm still confused at how that got blown out. Maybe it's, you know, staff couldn't get there to process or blah, blah, blah. But, you know, to add another fucking 7 weeks to my order is crazy. Then there's the concreting. They're flat out. The lead time on that was 7 weeks. 8 weeks, sorry. You know,
I suppose one thing that may have happened now that tourism has started to open up, maybe some people who used to kind of float around in the tourism, you know, whether it's like you said, washing the dishes, or, you know, like say
like bartenders and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, like maybe they used to do that for a bit, and then in the summertime, like, oh, I'll jump on the mowing rig, or, you know, whatever the case. Maybe now that tourism is starting to open up, you know, maybe everyone's simply just fucked off and on holidays.
Maybe. I know it's pretty hard to secure, like...
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy to me how bad the ripple effect from you know, something up here all the way down to all the sub-industries and things like that.
That one's just... I think that, for me, is one of the strange ones. I can understand equipment shortages and shit for people being sick, but even that, like... We'll get to equipment stuff in a minute because that's pretty big, but the manufacturing side, like, that's not all due to sickness, that's also due to lack of staff. They can't fill positions to create the components that we need for all our shit, and it just blows my mind. Like, I know that in some states in America now, they have implemented basically the dole. So that's something they didn't have before, that some states are like, oh, we'll implement that because COVID's fucked and you have no money because you have no job. And maybe people have just gone, oh, this is really good, we've never had this before. But I don't know. I can't explain.
Is that what's called over there, welfare? They don't have welfare, or not all states have welfare?
Yeah, I don't think it's all states. I think some have it, but...
If Tupac was alive, I'd ring him up and ask him.
We'd be besties. But if anyone can shed any light about their experiences, maybe someone out there knows about why there's such a shortage of people.
Workforce people.
Yeah.
You know, where have you gone?
It's weird.
Where have all the workers gone?
They're on fucking holidays.
they're down the coast, peeking through people's fucking hotel rooms.
All shitting up against walls in Cabela.
Alright, so let's move on to these supply issues. Now, this is something for me, this is, I guess it's selfish for me, in the sense that because I have a product and accessories business, we're seeing such a huge boom in the industry, and we're being exposed to so many excellent products.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going to talk about Catch Pro products. I'm actually talking about real equipment innovations, like, say, all your Ego Power stuff.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, you have a Husqvarna hedge trimmer, which you could purchase, but tell me when's the next time you can buy a Batto for that?
Yep.
And it just blows my mind that as Australians, we have become more not innovative, but we're looking at that innovation, and we're willing to invest in it for the betterment of your own business or whatever the case is. Let's say a Darwin's grip, for example. Hey, let's look at the Darwin's grip. Can help me relieve some back pain, have better posture, let's get one.
Nah.
It's just, and it makes me sick to think that if someone wants to buy, let's say someone like you with an opportunity like Skag, you're the mouthpiece of their company in terms of being an in-field operator and user. And you spend all this time doing all this social media and back end for the company. Hey BJ, when can I get a 32V ride?
I'll have to check. And that's one of the hardest things, because I'll have to go back and I'll talk to Rob and say, look, what's going on? And he'll go, we're doing our best. They're on the water. The ports have been fucked up. They've got staff shortages. There's always something that's fucking us around. There's containers. That's another fucking thing. Container shortages.
A worldwide shortage.
The fuck is that?
Now, let me just say, if you actually were looking for, like, say, a Catch Pro or an equipment defender trimmer rack, then we have a motherfuckload of them.
Well, there you go.
But, certain products. And the thing is, too, like, people are actually becoming so used to it that it's a good thing for some suppliers, but I'm sure it deters some people from buying stuff from our website. Like, some people will email in and they'll say, "G'day, I'm looking to get a 3-place trimmer rack." Now I look at that and I think, well, that's fucking good, just jump on the website and hit the click button. I obviously don't reply that to the customer. Jump on the website. What sort of info do you need? And they always come back and say, well, I'm just wondering what the ETA is. And I'm like, hey brother, you click that button and it'll be out there tomorrow. And people are like, oh wow. And they don't
shock these days.
They don't expect. They always ask me for lead times. Now we do have, there are certain products that we are totally struggling to get. But in terms of some of that stuff, just look at you with your truck, right? Now, if you go back 3 years ago and you wanted to buy something, it was on the shelf, or you could buy it. And you can't buy shit now. I was want to spend money.
Talking to guys when I was down in Melbourne. They're kind of in the same, they're dealers, so they all use trucks to transport mowers around. And the prices that they were telling me that they bought, second-hand here, they're like fucking 18 grand for this one, it's 2012, blah, blah, blah. Like, they've all got these fairly new trucks, and they've got them for like a quarter of the fucking price that you can buy a second-hand truck for now. Same year, everything. Like, the resale value on second-hand shit has gone through the roof. It wasn't even a fucking option for me. Like, there was just no second-hand stock, never mind new stock. I was very lucky to get my truck. I was extremely lucky to get it, and I'm very happy. ETA is the end of this month.
Well, same thing with my Ram truck. Like, I mean,
there's no options either.
I see people who hit me up and they're like, oh, I got one of those coming, and like, oh yeah, and usually I don't actually give a fuck.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, it's coming in August, and I'm thinking like,
yeah,
brother, it's March.
Well, my homeboy Dale from Urban Turf, he fucking got lucky too. He got a Isuzu D-Max, and up here they're quoting you fucking 8 months.
That's no Ram truck, mate.
It's no Ram truck, but he's got it. I think it was a D-Max. It was either a D-Max or he got a D-Max and now he's getting a family car. And he snagged one and he was really lucky and he was really happy about it. But there was too many beers to remember really tight details on that fucking trip. But yeah, man, you got to preempt your business these days. You really have to think like a year ahead.
Well, not only that, but like really when it all comes down to your equipment. Now, I know that there's been certain companies that have really been able to, let's say, thrive and survive. I want to talk about Bush Ranger for a minute.
Yep.
Honda must be having, I'm just not in the push mower game.
No.
I've got a Honda.
Yep.
That I've had for it's a 20-year-old Honda. But, you see all sorts of issues and no one can buy Honda self-propelled mowers. And, the alternative, the next best alternative, there's other alternatives, but Bush Ranger have a very similar model.
Yeah.
And they have a blade brake now and stuff like that. And they're really getting over because, they've had the product the whole time, but they haven't built that relationship with the end user. Yeah. It's always been like, no, I'm going to get myself a Honda.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing a whole ton of people who are like, oh, I'm going to have to get the Bushy. And then once they get it, it's like, hey, this machine's kind of good and I'd recommend it. And so there are some, companies out there that are fortunate enough to be able to supply, at least in some capacity.
Yeah.
Say, for example, for us, grass catchers. I think at some point, like the MTD parts and accessories factory in America burned down.
Oh,
and
shit.
I don't mean to be laughing about that because I don't think it's funny. But for your Cub cadets, it was just straight up like no one's going to get a grass catcher for a Cub cadet for 18 months. And so people have no option. They're like, hey, we have to have a look at a Catch Pro.
Yeah.
And so, obviously it's been great for us in that capacity. And the same goes for just all your zero-turn mowers. So, Toro's have incredible issues.
Yep.
And I see, World Lawn, for example, they're making a big comeback. And I think that they have huge supply issues as well. But there was no market before for World Lawn. They were there, they built up the dealer network a little bit, some shit went south internally in the company, from what I understand. And it was just like they were doing fuck all.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, dealers are putting World Lawns in because they need to fucking sell something.
Yeah. We talked with Aiden about fucking how bad the timing was that Cox gave away their manufacturing capabilities.
Yeah, well, so I was a little bit wrong. I had said something in to the effect of, if they had held out 6 more months.
Yeah.
But apparently, as I got deeper into those conversations, it was something that was already happening 12 months behind the scenes. Yeah. But, hey, let's say had they been able to hold out 12 months.
Yeah.
I think you'd see that factory, provided they could get work, but they had robot welders and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And so, geez, I really think that they'd be selling a ton of mowers.
Yeah.
So can you think of any other brands that are, say, prospering from, is that a right word? Prospering?
I don't know. Maybe.
Fuck it, we'll roll with it.
Yeah, maybe anyone who can actually get a container in.
Yeah, okay.
I'd say, people with stock are going to sell machines. It's as simple as that these days. If someone can't get something, they'll go for the next.
But before COVID, when we used to talk about stand-ons and stuff,
yeah,
I would always say to the brands, I would always say whoever can bring a machine out for 10k Australian is going to win the market.
Yep.
They're going to win everything, right? Now I say whoever has a machine is going to win the market.
Yeah.
So, because at the end of the day, if you're a contractor and you need a machine, you can't always wait. Now there are people waiting. There are people waiting.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't wait. You need that machine.
Yeah, you hit a contract that you need to fucking move and shake on straight away. You need a machine. You're going to go for whatever you can grab. Yeah, I really feel like perfect example. I had a Shindawa, 7-year-old Shindawa that had never missed a beat, died. Next day of work, my fucking 18-month-old Echo died. I rang 5 dealers. None of them had. Luckily, Danny's got some floor stock of the
smaller one.
Yeah, the smaller Shindawa, which I might have to get.
Is it the same? Does it have the same setup? Just a fucking handle with the tube?
Just a handle with the tube, yeah.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough that Lee from ProCut down my way hooked me up with his Husqvarna to give it a go. I don't mind it. It's pretty cool. It's growing on me as I use it a bit more. It doesn't have the flex in the tube as much as the Shinnies and the Echo did, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, I fucking spent the whole afternoon just ringing dealer after dealer, just trying to find someone with a backpack blower in stock. Now I know, luckily I talked to Paul and I said, you guys got some fucking bushies in the country that I could get?
Yeah, and he'll be able to. And because you can buy them online.
Yeah, I know.
So what they do over there, which is really cool, is you can go to the Bushranger website and you can purchase something online. What they do is they just direct it so that whatever the closest dealer to you is, even if they don't have it in stock, they get the commission and sale.
Oh, okay. So I kind of wanted to go to my dealer, and he's a Bushranger dealer as well.
You can still nominate.
Oh, okay.
Look, I mean, maybe I'm making an assumption, but I'd say that if you've got a Bushranger dealer, you can go online, and I'm pretty sure there's a spot where you can say, like, that's my dealer. But yeah, I mean, as long as they're stocked.
But yeah, because people,
or you could just borrow my bloody Bushranger.
Yeah, I probably will. Just keep borrowing people's stuff, and I'll break it all, and then I'll fucking give it all back.
It's a good blower. It hasn't had that much of a hard life because by the time I got it, I was only using it.
Well, I've used that. I've used the Husky now. I've used the Echo. I've used the Shindawa. I don't mind any of it. I'm just.
There's Redmax dealer up the road.
Is it? Yeah. Well, I'll give him a call as well. Because
I think the Redmax is the same as the Husky, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Some shit.
Yeah, I think the Echo's the same as the new Shindawa.
Because red's better than orange.
That's fucking gross. Let's say that.
See, all the Toro guys are getting up on you now.
Oh, fuck them. Fuck them to their faces. No, not really.
It's cat's eye gold though.
It's cat's eye gold, yeah. Fucking orange shit, mate. It's cat's eye gold.
But no, look, back to some of this stuff that we're missing out on. Like, think about all the Ballard product stuff that are coming out, right? Like, he's developing stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And like the shipping is so expensive that like there's not even any point on me considering bringing it into the country.
Nah. Well, what did Rob say? An extra $2,000 per container or something?
I actually believe it's more. And we don't bring stuff in by containers, but we get shared containers.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't even looked at. This is poor on my part, but like I haven't even looked at my prices on some of that stuff. To like a lot of the Ballard gear we have to, and people will see like, oh geez, this has gone up $20 or this has gone up. You have to do it.
Wow.
We haven't had to do that with the Catch Pro because it's still locally made.
Yeah.
So I go down and
local.
yeah, I mean,
again.
it's one of those things. But
trailers, man, that's another fucking thing. That the price of steel's gone up like 60% since I got my first trailer built, and that's got to be reflective in the prices.
So would you say this episode we're trying to cover world events from say 2020 to now. Now we've seen, I know personally, I've seen a lot of businesses grow. Let's say guys like Nikhil Sharma. And there would be a ton of others. Like we've seen them start.
Martin from Mullengrove, he's fucking way 2 years ago. I think he still just had a little crew of a couple of guys. Anchorages. Now there's huge, man. He's done such a good job. But yeah, it's crazy. Watch it like myself.
So even though all of us as people have had to go through so many hardships, there has just been a ton of growth, right?
It really has.
We've all been able to work through it, and I guess because the world was effectively shut off by tourism, people got to spend their money on something. So I might get a new garden, or let's get the yard returfed.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from a landscaper's point of view what kind of workload they have. I know Shorey is flat out. Like he's.
Oh yeah, man! They're full buzzing.
But yeah, the flow-on effect from COVID has been. It's been a mix of growth and a mix of struggles for employees and a mix of struggles for supplies.
Supplies is the one that hurts me the most, because we do so many work with the brands, and there's some brands that are doing, like say the brands that I'm affiliated with, like Ego, they've got stock. Like if you can, so that's a great situation for me, because get them on the podcast and we get to learn about their product. And if someone likes what they see or likes the information that they've heard, they can actually go and get that machine. If you're doing that with let's say Still, for example, we bought the Still battery line. We weren't really happy with the first gen. We looked at the second gen that came out in America. And we were like, well, we could see some upgrades. We'll probably grab that. I mean, I think 200 or something. Like it was pathetic. A pathetic number came into the country. And it's really tough because you've invested. We've got all those attachments. We got the battos. We got the quick chargers, everything, and the shit's just sitting there. And alternatively, we actually had to buy a bunch of Ego gear, which we're really happy with.
But you've still got a bunch of shit there you can't use. Like even if it was just there for backup.
I think ultimately, even though I'm probably still going to try and look at that particular Still. I can't even think of the bloody model. It's the one that accepts the batto straight in. Even though we're really happy with our Ego gear, I think if I can get one of those multi-tool ones, the Still ones, I probably still will, just so we can utilise all the gear. But it's really, think about Tweels, for example. Tweels, now not Twells, Tweels. We're all suffering through this rain.
Have you even seen a fucking set on the road?
I've never seen a set in real life.
We saw some. We went to John Deere together on the end.
Sorry, I've seen that. So, excuse me.
You don't see very often. We've actually got the head of what would you call the headquarters?
The Michelin baby. Oh, you're talking about
John Deere.
Like Chesterfield.
Used to drive past there. There'd be a couple of tractors. There'd be a couple of zero turns up there. It'd be all.
Yeah, I've gone in to do like a prototype. I've gone in there to prototype a bracket.
Yeah, good luck.
And I'm like, hey, where's all your zero turns, eh? And they're like, oh, We'll have these in 37 months.
There'll be like one lonely tractor mower there and fucking merchandise all over the place, but there's not a fucking zero turn to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And the worst thing too about the Australian market is we're getting starved. So the Americans are fulfilling their markets first, which I can understand is happening. It's just that I honestly feel like the Americans are undervaluing the Australian portion. Yeah. Now, to give everyone like an understanding of, let's say, a really successful company, you've got Hustler Mowers, right? That has been sold now to Stanley Black & Decker, but the financial year report before they sold, they did $369 million in total sales, and 36.9 million of that was for Australian market. So I think it worked out to like say roughly between 9 and 10% of their total sales was Australia, which if you look at the total figure, the 36.9 or whatever it is, that's a huge amount.
Yeah.
For Power Up Lawn Care, for hustlers in Australia. But Hustler Turf in America, or let's say Stanley Black & Decker, they couldn't give a flying fuck about that number, because what's that less than the three, like they did, 320 million in other markets.
Yeah.
And so, going back to the Darwin grip, Corey bought 10,000. And he will not even send me 200 or 300 to fulfill our market.
Because doesn't know when his next 10,000 is coming to start off with.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. That comment is not made. Like, I'm not hating. Like, I understand it.
Yeah, that's business. Like, he'll fill his orders before he'll fill yours. And that's business.
But, it's just... That's why, and I know this is a sidebar in itself, that's why it's really sad that there is no, Australian manufacturing anymore.
Yeah, it's such a dick tease. Like, they waggle a fucking sexy product in front of us, and then they're like, you'll see it in fucking 3 years when we're finished with it.
Yeah.
We've got something else coming out. Look, I don't know. So I was thinking about overflow stock. I've seen a few of the little Ferris rear discharges still floating around. You can't tell me that was brought in for Australia, really. Like,
well, I mean, my theory was always that they were product dumps.
Yeah.
Now the people over at Ferris, or say Briggs Australia, will probably tell you not.
Yeah.
They actually market those machines.
Right.
However, I believe that they're a product dump.
Yeah.
Like there used to be. I'm just going to use Hustler again as an example, only because I know some of the internal stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the American season, it was like, hey, we got 200 or 300 machines. Let's get them in containers. Let's send them down to Australia.
Yeah,
because they're getting ready for their pre-season. And like where I'm hearing terrifying things now. Like we already know some of the stuff about Toro and say Gravely.
Yeah.
If you want a John Deere, call us back in 2023.
Yeah. If you want a John Deere, you're going to wait a year. You like it? Wow. And that's a sad fact. I don't know what it's like for big trucks and tractors and shit like that, or their seeders and stuff, but zero.
The agricultural and golf is worse.
I don't know.
Like, I think one of those bloody Toro, is it a Groundsmaster? Or, I think they've already said, like, just forget it for this year. Don't even worry about it.
I mean, with John Deere, though, we are an agricultural country. Maybe they have more of a push for those sort of big seeding and tilling and that sort of, like, well, it's the real farming equipment, but it's got nothing to do with us, so.
Well, it's volumes.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. We are like a farming country. Like, we do produce a lot of fucking wheat and all that sort of shit. So maybe that stuff is still coming here. That kind of makes it a bit of a fucking piss in the face that they're not sending zero turns with them.
Yeah, I mean, I ran into a Walker rep. Well, he was an SME rep and I believe he was representing Walker, but I think he was more of a Bobcat guy, but he was doing, I just ran into him at a dealer. For example, the Walker brand, they've got, hundreds of thousands of machines, but they need this one microchip for something. Must be something in the ignition, or some electrics, whatever. It's like a 10-cent part that comes out of China.
Yeah.
And they don't have any of them. So they've got, thousands and thousands of machines. Like, I've seen Paul send me photos of the Spartan factory with literally like a couple of thousand Spartans just all lined up. And I'm, looked and I'm like, holy shit, and like, oh, that looks mad, rah, rah. And he's like, oh, did you notice anything? And, I was maybe looking for some feature or something. And, he texted me back and he says, did you notice that not one of those machines has a fucking engine on it? And we all know the issues that Kawasaki are having.
Yeah.
So, it's just really tough. And I think people now have to be aware of what brands they're going to go for.
I think
so. I think in hindsight, like, and this is to not bag the brand at all, but knowing what you know about Husqvarna batteries and stuff, would you have still gone down that route? I know you love your Hedger, but is it worth it if you fucking need another one?
Probably not. It's different for me because I do speak to a lot of dealers, because a lot of Skag dealers are Husqvarna dealers as well.
True.
So it's kind of easier for me to be like, who's got batteries?
Yeah.
And
if you got hundreds of people all over Australia doing the same thing, it's not going to make things easy.
No, I can see as a contractor it would be a bit of a hard choice. I mean,
I'm not trying to stop people from going down to the Husqvarna dealer or even going online or whatever, but I know for me it would be difficult for me to recommend still battery products to people right now, because they might get a machine and they might not be able to get a battery for it or a hip pack or whatever the hell they're doing.
Well, I think I've had my Hedger for months now. I had to get the skin from Brisbane at my local dealer, and I had to get the batteries from Will down in Rosebud.
Yeah, so
it's fucking that was a pain in the ass, but it was because we do this, I do want to try as many tools as I can. It's a little bit detrimental now that I've got a fucking 36 charger stations, but I want to be able to give honest feedback on all machines that I get asked about. So, it's worth it in the long run.
But we're talking about contractors who are not doing what we're doing. We're talking about guys that
I wouldn't do it. I'd have to find somewhere with a solid supply of batteries and a solid supply of skins.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
And so is that the case, let's say with push mowers, blades, air filters, that's not really something that I'm involved in right now, because I don't, we've got a couple of push mowers that just don't get used very often.
Yeah, so, I've got a couple.
But, like if you need a Honda air filter, is that something that you can get?
I think it's a readily available product still. I think. I don't know. I haven't really bought one. I've still got a backlog.
Yeah.
I bought in bulk back in the day, and I just...
Well, what about a replacement catcher?
I don't know.
If you're looking for one of those mesh ones, I know a lot of that shit's online.
Yeah, a lot of knockoff.
Or if you're looking for a genuine plastic.
I think if you're looking...
Do they still do those?
Yeah, I think if you were looking for genuine, I think you'd have a bit of a struggle, but I think aftermarket might still be available.
Yeah.
I found it a little bit hard.
Because let's just think about something as simple as Roundup.
Oh, yeah.
It's like fucking fuel.
So, from what I've been told, there's two plants in China that have been shut down for fuck knows what. Like, even,
It's because those bastards are putting COVID in.
Fucking hell, they've turned into a COVID factory.
Isn't that a nasty rumour?
No, but yeah, 2 factories shut down in China, which has pumped the price up on the chemicals that they use to make Roundup, which is, what the fuck do they shut them down? Why? Why'd they do that?
Well, the combination lock for the equipment defenders. They shut down, and it's awful because like the combi lock was an awesome feature, but we can't offer it anymore. Yeah, it doesn't bloody exist.
I got lucky. I got everything except for my backpack blower rack. I key locked that one, but
you can still dummy lock it all, can't you?
Yeah, I don't. Not the key lock one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nah, I don't mind it though.
No, I think you can.
Can you? Maybe you should.
So the trimmer racks, you can dummy lock it. Like you can, you got the lever that you can swing over.
Oh yeah.
And you got the latch that will actually lock it.
Yeah.
But if a thief realizes that they just moved that top handle, so when you actually lock it, it stops you from having the ability to move that top handle. But essentially you can dummy lock it.
Yeah. Okay.
So do you think we've covered most of the topics about, say COVID, lockdowns, weather?
Yeah, I think so.
Employee shortages, etc.
It's just sad about all the hype on new equipment. That's the one that gets you down when you do something like we do. We're looking for topics and you see something and you think, fuck yeah, that's going to be cool. And then you come to the realisation that we might not see it for 12 to 18 to 24 months.
Yeah. Now, can I say something that we don't have a shortage of is bad workwear. Don't forget to use our 10% skull code at the Bad Workwear checkout. Also, any bad workwear products that we have at catchpro.com.au, feel free to use the same code.
Post your photos up, please. Post those photos up of all your bad workwear. I'm still doing it myself. We got D.
We see the lovely D Scarlett still throwing up some of her goodies, which we definitely appreciate. There's a lot of women in our industry now. I'd love to see more women getting amongst the bad workwear range. And the reason why I'm emphasising it is I just think it's good gear for Sheilers. Like some of the other generic stuff that you see is kind of like unisex stuff.
Yeah.
But this stuff is like
tailored to women.
Yeah, tailored to the women body shapes, and some of it is probably a little bit I don't even know the word, but some of it's probably a little bit too
flattering.
Yeah, flattering or promiscuous, maybe. I don't know. But you don't have to. They've still got, like if you don't want to be that exposed, you don't have to be. It's kind of the same stuff with the men's workwear too.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get like the mini stubbies or bloody
the ones that I wear.
Yeah, then you can.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to be a show off, you don't have to.
I'm not a show off.
I
got some sexy pins that need to see a bit of sunlight. Looks a bit funny when I'm walking around in short shorts. I've got a big white streak in the middle, but it's getting there. No, I really enjoy the workwear. I took my bad workwear hat to Melbourne and got a couple of photos in the pits there. So
I've actually started to start a shocking trend, and I've actually started to wear some of the bad workwear pieces like on the weekend.
Yeah, I took my shirt as well to Melbourne.
Like flanny and just down the park or what. Not that I'm doing that yet, but I remember last winter my missus is like, can you just not wear fucking workwear out?
I wish I took my boots.
And I'm just like, yo, go. Nah.
I wish I wore my boots, man. Also, don't forget the sunnies. These things, these are actually my sunnies. They got grass bukkake today, but these have become a standard in my life. They stay in my car. I wear them every single day. And they're comfortable, they're durable, and they're safety rated. So,
and let me say as well, feel free to ask questions on any of the social media platforms. Doesn't offend us if you are asking the question like, hey, is this stuff actually any good? The sunglasses, for example, we've been overwhelmed with the amount of people getting amongst it. I do think that they're a stylish safety glass that's fully compliant. Style doesn't always matter, but I think it matters a little bit. You don't want to look like a kook out there with cycling sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Don't care if anyone's offended by that comment. But yeah, definitely jump on the workwear website, check it out. It's getting cooler around the country now. Still a little bit wet. You can get your rain defend hoodie, etc.
Yeah.
Waterproof boots, yada yada yada.
Get yourself a hoodie as well. Like they've got heaps of cool stuff. The vest is cool, and the bomber jacket, that army green bomber jacket. Oh, it looks so good.
So I don't have the bomber, but I got the puffer.
Oh, okay.
Like honestly, in Queensland conditions with the jackets and some of that stuff, some of it's a little bit too much.
I'm a little bit jealous of the guys down south that get that cool weather. They can wear jeans.
I know. They can just be all snuggy.
I've got to pick one or the other. But
anyway, this puffer jacket, it's not like one of those. It looks kind of heavy, but it's not. It's not a mega heavy jacket.
Yeah.
So you kind of it's a windbreaker, but it's not like one of those ones that full steams you up.
Have you got any of the bad workwear trackies yet?
I do, mate.
Do you? Do they make your face look good?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you wear trackies with undies?
It depends if I have a piss fat or not.
I never wear trackies with undies, so yeah, got to make sure my piece looks alright. Walk around, show off to the missus.
Yeah, no, I just never go commando these days.
Don't ya?
No, I used to all the time when I was younger. I used to go out on the piss, no undies, nothing. But yeah,
I have to wear undies when I'm on the
dude now, eh?
Just in case I shit myself, I can just re-up. I can just rip them off, use them, and fucking throw them in the bin.
Have a look at you. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you everyone for joining us. Don't forget to get on all of the socials, reviews. Give us your feedback, give us some topic suggestions, because 2 episodes a week, we need some shit to talk about.
That's it.
And we can definitely talk smack about any topic. Definitely appreciate all of your support. I am at Catch Pro, he is at TBL, and we're out of time. Thank you.
Peace.